Hey guys, how's everyone doing? You all good today? You can all hear me, I assume? I'm going to assume that's a yes, that you can hear me. Because since we've switched to this YouTube style of webinars, we've never had issue. So let's get started with the webinar, guys. Today is Thursday, the 13th of September, 2018. I forgot what day of the week it was for a second there. Today is Thursday, the 13th of September, 2018. At least I remember the year. Time is 11:03 here in the UK. And you're looking at an AUDJPY daily chart. In today's analysis, we're going to be looking for price action setups. We're going to be looking for setups across all these pairs listed here on the right. Actually, a bit of an active day today. It was great. We got a huge spike yesterday in price. And whenever you get those big moves, usually it's followed by some great setups, because those big moves, what happens? They stall at support resistance areas. Of course they do, because support resistance areas are major barriers. And then after that, you get awesome setups. So there's a lot of things going on today. I'm just going to untick all these ones that we hadn't ticked. I'm going to go back to AUDJPY, and we're going to start from the top of the list. Right, so AUDJPY, what's it doing? I'm going to explain this one step by step. It is trending down. This is a poorly drawn trend line, but it doesn't matter. I don't use trend lines. I'm just showing you guys that it's trending down. I guess something like that would be a bit more accurate. Whatever. Point is, this is trending down. It is in a downtrend overall. Could look at the weekly. If I move this slightly there, we could look at the weekly. Could see how big this downtrend is. It did go sideways for a little bit, but overall trending down. Trends are always the easiest to trade. And my chart is loading slow. Weird. So I know this doesn't look like much on the daily, but on the 12-hour, it's already turning around. On the 8-hour, we're seeing indecision. I knew this because I saw it already this morning, so I know what we're seeing here. Basically, what we have here is a potential continuation short trade in line with the trend. Price is stalling at resistance. So when price is trending down, then it comes up to the resistance area, it stalls out there. That's a good sign of a continuation, because it's failing to get above that resistance area, plus it's in an overall downtrend. So this is looking pretty decent. It looks like it's about to trigger on the 6-hour, but as always, I'm a little bit apprehensive about entering on smaller time frames, because smaller time frames, they're more likely to fool you. They're more likely to get you into a false move, a false continuation. But then the plus side of smaller time frames is you get in earlier, so you usually get a better entry, and you're less likely to miss trades, because sometimes they move too fast. So there's always this, there's always, like almost everything in life, there's this kind of balance or pros and cons to doing either. Pros and cons, that's the best way to put it. So on the 6-hour, if you want to take the trade there, the pros are you're going to get in pretty much right now. You're going to have a nice entry. You're going to have like a, let's use this tool. You're going to have a nice entry here. You can have a reasonably good stop loss, good risk to reward ratio, awesome. If you enter on the daily, you're not going to enter this one until Friday or Monday. Today's probably Monday. If you enter on the 12-hour, it already looks like it's turning around, so you might miss this completely. If you enter on the 8-hour, maybe you'll catch it. This 8-hour candle is going to close in about 3 hours. So all I'm saying here is you can enter on lower time frames. You can wait for the higher time frames. The higher time frames give you a higher win rate, but you're going to miss more trades and you're going to get worse entries, generally speaking. Sometimes you get better entries, but most times you're going to get worse entries. So what I like to do is I like to leave the choice up to you, which a lot of people don't like because they don't like the independence of having to make their own decisions. Most of you here in this room are okay with that, but I mean, just in general, people are like, oh, I don't know enough about trading, so I don't want to make my own decision. Nick, please tell me what to do. But I'm not going to do that because I don't really like doing that. The choice is pretty straightforward. You can get into this trade now because it's triggering on the 6 hour, knowing that the risk that this is a false breakout is higher, or you can wait for the higher time frames, knowing that the risk that you might miss this trade if it's not a false breakout on the 6 hour is there. What are you guys going to do? You guys in the room right now watching this webinar, what are you going to do? If you're even going to enter this trade. There's a lot of you here, so please, some of you answer. I know that a lot of people are afraid to give a response, blah, blah, blah. But just take part, answer. Even if you're not 100% sure what you're going to do, just say, oh, I'm not sure yet. George is waiting. Ash is waiting. You're in free trades already. That makes sense to wait for sure. You're going to wait. Everyone's waiting. Ooh, except for Chris. Chris is entering on the 6 hour. Cool. I like it. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer here. There really isn't. There's no right or wrong. It's just your risk appetite. Your appetite for risk, what you want to do and how you want to manage your trading account, that's what the factor is here. I personally am a little bit medium risk or low risk, low to medium risk. So I'm going to wait, knowing full well that I might miss out on this move. But for me, I find waiting is safer. But that's just me. That doesn't mean you have to manage your account in the same way. That means if you do what I do, you're going to miss out on some nice moves from time to time. If I do what you do and get in, I'm going to take more losses. And I personally don't. I mean, I'm okay with losing trades in Forex. I lost a trade yesterday, New Zealand USD, which we'll cover in a second. I'm okay with losing trades, but I don't really like losing that much. So I'm going to wait. I'm going to be patient. I'd rather miss an opportunity than lose a trade. I guess that's what it comes down to. 79.60. Yeah, it has bounced away from there a few times. Definitely. I have to go way, way, way back. It has bounced away from there a few times. I would say that it's not a major resistance level. In my opinion, it's not a major resistance level. And I know a lot of you are going to say, what about that? That's a pretty big move. But this to me looks like it was just a big reversal caused by news. So if we go over to the daily, this will look nowhere near as significant, right? On the daily, it's just stalling out along here. But on the lower time frames, this looks like a big turnaround, a big impactful turnaround. So yeah, I'm not really too bothered with that. When you look at the daily, it just looks like there's some minor support down here. All right, cool. Well, in summation, we do have a setup on AUDJPY that is currently forming. It is ready to enter on lower timeframes, almost ready. I mean, it is obviously it's not triggering yet, but it would just need to move down a little bit further for it to trigger. My entry right now, planned entry, but this might change because obviously I'm looking to enter on the 8 hour, the 12 hour. So this might change completely. But right now my planned entry is 79.93. Planned stop loss is around about 80.26. And the planned target, which is definitely open to changing, is around 78.80. But it's more likely than not. When I first enter the trade, that's going to move up a little bit. And then I'll extend it down if needed. So yeah, in summation, this trade is ready, almost ready to enter on the lower time frame, 6 hour. It just needs to drop down a little further. If you're trading the higher time frames, like the 8 hour or 12 hour, then obviously this setup is not ready to enter, but we should be looking potentially at an entry later today. Are you entering already, Edward? Like you're entering right now? Where would my alarm be? Where would I place my alarm? I'll place it here on TradingView, but I don't really use TradingView alarms as much as I use alarms on my actual trading platform. But it's so easy to place them on TradingView though. I just trust my platform's alarms more because that's where I'm taking the trade. Anyway, that's not important. So price alarm. I'm not even sure if I would set one here really, because I'm just going to watch. But if I had to, I'd just set it 1 or 2 pips above my entry. But you know, the reality is that alarm's going to be triggered very, very quickly. Price is going to dip down, trigger that alarm, and then not really do anything. That's the likely scenario. So yeah, in this case, I probably would not even bother setting it. I would just check in every now and then, because if I set it here, right, I have a price alarm there and it drops down on the 6 hour, triggers it. I'm not entering on the 6 hour anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You can use TradingView. TradingView is a good place to set alarms. We can discuss this in the forum because I don't really like. I have this problem in trading where when I say the broker I'm with, then everyone wants to copy me and join that broker. And that broker might not be useful for everyone, might not provide the same kind of things to everyone that it provides to me. Or sorry, not like they provide different services. What I mean is the right broker for you might not necessarily be the right broker for me, or the right broker for me might not be the right broker for you. So we'll discuss price alarms with my broker in the forum. But TradingView is perfectly good. The only reason I prefer my broker's alarms over TradingView's alarms is not because my broker's alarms are better, just because I'm taking the trade on that platform and not on TradingView. So it's just what I prefer. But TradingView alarms are good. You can send an email to SMS, but when you click this, it's going to give you a list. Not all. See, I don't think it has United Kingdom, because I think most UK. Oh yeah, it does. But there's. Right, so a lot of the UK companies actually do this. That's surprising. My company, my mobile phone company, EE, doesn't, so I can't do email to SMS. But it's pretty straightforward. You basically follow the guide here. Put your mobile number, and then this, and it'll send the email to SMS. There are other ways to do it. There's a lot of ways to do it. You can get a email to SMS service, which charges you per SMS, but if you buy in bulk, it can be quite cheap. That's obviously not going to be good for everyone. You can use if this then that. If this then that basically connects apps. So if you receive an email from a specific source, it will then SMS it to you. I think this is limited to 100 SMSs for free in the US and 10 in the UK. So again, UK people, it's a bit harder for us. But yeah, email with push notifications. There's so many ways to do it these days. I'm not going to go through all of them because we're here to do analysis. So let's keep going, guys. I don't want people who are here just for the analysis to get bored. So AUDJPY looking good. AUD New Zealand, similar thing, pushing up to resistance. This one's trending up though, so I'm not really as interested in taking a short here. I'm probably... Let's watch this one because it is stalling out. It is a valid reversal setup. It is also a bit of a range between these two areas. So let's watch this one. But I'm not as excited about this one. So what do I mean by a range? I mean price is bouncing back and forth between these two support resistance areas. It's done that in the past. So we could be looking at a short from the top of this range. But do keep in mind that when you look to the left, it does take quite a while to get through this range. It moves back and forth, back and forth. There's a lot of spiky candles. So it wouldn't be a comfortable, easy trade. Well, it could be, but it's unlikely. It did have a big push yesterday, but a lot of pairs had a big push yesterday. That does not mean that if we get a stall out here, that it's going to push the same way. So yeah, I would say this is a potential short setup from this resistance area, depending on how this candle closes. On the 6 hour, again, very similar to AUDJPY. On the 6 hour, we already have indecision closing. So if you were more into taking shorter time frame trades, I'd say something like this. Whoops. Something like that, maybe. Yeah, good risk to reward ratio. Probably pull that up though. Good risk to reward ratio, decent stop loss. Probably extend that stop loss up a bit, make it a bit safer. So if it pushes down to the 1.0950, actually move that entry a bit lower, just get it below that psych level. Why not? 1.0948. If it breaks below that, then this is technically a valid trade. Probably going to wait for it on the higher timeframes though, if I even enter at all. There's a lot happening today, guys. AUDUSD. AUDUSD has pulled back above this resistance area. Now this resistance area is actually quite a strong one. It's why did I move it? This bounce here, major bounce, and then if you look back further, you got more bounces. So this is a strong resistance area. I'm going to keep the resistance area where it is. Price is stalling out above it. I'm apprehensive about doing anything here. If I were to short here, it could just act as support and price could just move around here, or it could just bounce completely away. So I'm not going to do anything with AUDUSD, guys. Not for me. EURAUD trending up heavily, stalling out on this support area after this pullback. So potential for a long trade here. So this would just be a potential bullish continuation trade. So the trend's going up, price falls into support, bam, you could potentially get into a continuation. So we'll keep an eye on that, but again, there are going to be a bunch of setups today, and this one's not one of the best looking ones out of all the stuff we have today. EURAUD, I already know what's coming today for the most part, because I was looking at my charts before the webinar. EURAUD, not much going on. EUROGBP, moving sideways, really. You guys know what that means. When pairs are moving sideways, we can use the new trade setups that I've shared with you guys last month. So do take a look at that. EURAUD is just kind of stalling out on this resistance. There's nothing much going on with EURAUD, guys. EURUSD, I have a lot of these green lines here. EURUSD, just moving sideways. Not much going on in terms of like larger time frame trades. GBP AUD, yeah, nothing much going on here, guys, either. GBPJPY, now this one is a little bit interesting, but basically what we have is we have price stalling out on resistance. I'm just not a big fan of this. But it is technically looking like it could turn into a reversal setup. The reason I'm not a fan is, like, let's look at the 12 hour. 12 hour is a good example. It's already made a few attempts at reversing from this level, and it's failed every time. So if I were to enter on this attempt, I'm just a bit apprehensive that it's going to fail again. And GBPJPY, on top of that, GBPJPY is just a pair that has these kind of swings and unpredictable moves. So that makes me a little bit more apprehensive. Whereas GBPUSD, similar, very similar, almost exactly the same, because for the last few days they've been very well correlated, but correlations can break. But this one, I'd feel more comfortable entering short here. So there is a potential short here. Price is stalling. It's not as good as some of the other setups we've seen, but there is a potential short here. Price is stalling out on this resistance area. I'm going to watch it, but I'm unlikely to enter this one. May as well mark GBPJPY because that's also a potential short. It's just, again, these ones are way riskier. Right, New Zealand USD. This one is one I'm kind of excited about. Now, there's a few things I want to mention about New Zealand USD. I got stopped out here yesterday. I was short for a continuation. Yesterday we had a surprise spike, and that spike took me out by half a pip. So I thought I had a safe stop loss, and I guess it was relatively safe. It was just half a pip off. You know, a lot of people, when this happens, they start crying and saying, I got stop hunted by my broker. But I've had a lot of occasions where my target's hit by half a pip, and I don't cry that my broker just gave me a bunch of money because they were being kind that day. This is just the reality of trading. Sometimes your stop loss is going to get hit by half a pip, and that's just how it's going to work. So yeah, I got stopped out by half a pip. A lot of you are still in this trade because you had a slightly wider stop loss. I mean, like I said, it was only half a pip in it, so that's how it goes sometimes. I still think that we have a good continuation setup here. So I'm going to remove this. That's the old setup I was looking at, the one that I got stopped out on. Price is trending down heavily. Yeah, I'm about to get to that. Price is trending down heavily. This is a massive, massive bearish trend on New Zealand USD. Price has broken below a 2-year. Was it a 2-year low? Just refreshing. Yeah, price has broken below a 2-year low and is now attempting to get back up above that low, but completely failing. So price broke below the 2-year low, attempting to get back up above, failing. So this is a pretty good continuation setup. The first one I took was a good continuation setup, but that spike back up took me out. Fair enough, happens. What can you do? But now we're getting a second continuation setup. I usually don't enter a trade a second time, but this one I'm going to, just because of how I was stopped out. My trade was valid. It's just my stop was off by just a little bit. If I had it a pip higher, I'd still be in the trade. So I don't really see this as so much as a failed trade. The price action and the logic that got me into this trade is still there and is still valid. It's just that stop loss was just a little bit too tight to handle this big move. So I am looking to enter this one again. I am looking to enter a short on New Zealand USD. Right now my numbers look something like this. 0.6542 for the entry, 0.6581 for the stop, 0.6438 for the target. I'm definitely considering widening that stop because I think my stop might be a bit, widening that entry because I think my entry might be a bit too tight. I haven't done proper risk analysis on this one yet. I haven't gone through my process to decide where I'm going to place my entry, where I'm going to place my stop loss. I pretty much just threw this thing on, this tool on before the webinar, but I think there's a good chance I'm going to widen that entry, push it a bit lower. The reason being, it's just more confirmation that we are getting that reversal if I have my entry lower. So I'll update you guys on the forum with what I'm doing on this. But point is, we do have a continuation set up here. Right. USDCAD. USDCAD just pushing down. I mean, there's not much of an actual trade set up here right now. USDCHF. We discussed this one yesterday, did we not? As a short setup yesterday? Oh, no. We're discussing something else yesterday. But a few of you are short on this one, right? I think that's what I'm mixing it up with. There was a forum post about a short on USDCHF. That's correct. Yeah, I'm going to check the forum. Oh yeah, there we go. USDCHF 12-hour short posted on Tuesday. So yeah, it's been open for a little while. Who's in on this one? Yeah, a lot of you are short. It's a good setup. Good solid setup. I'm looking to enter myself, but as one of the new trade setups that we've discussed, so we won't go into that one. New Zealand JPY, a few people are long on this one. I mean, just hold on to it. But I'm not convinced that this one's going to go long for much longer. Anyway, I think that wraps it up for the analysis, guys. Are there any questions? We got a bunch of setups, so I'll just review the setups real quick. AUDJPY, we're looking at a possible continuation setup. I'm going to wait for the 8-hour, maybe even the 12-hour, and look to get in short at some point today, depending on how this develops. I mean, obviously, what could happen is this could go boom and keep going up, and then I won't get into the trade. But I'm looking to enter short here, depending on how it develops. AUD New Zealand stalling out on resistance, which is the top of a range. So there is potential for a trade here. Euro AUD stalling out on support. It's an overall bullish trend. Come back down, hit support. That's usually a good sign for a continuation. So we're looking for a potential long there. GBPJPY and GBPUSD, these are probably the weakest setups today, the riskiest setups today. I'm very unlikely to trade these. I'm just marking them here in case anyone else wants to enter. Do keep in mind that they've both already made attempts to pull back from this area and failed, so it is definitely risky. New Zealand USD looking for a short continuation trade from the resistance area. I was already short for a continuation, got stopped out by half a pip. So I'm going in for a second attempt with this one. And USDCHF, it's already triggered, but I'm looking to get in for a different kind of setup, which because this webinar is public, we won't discuss that setup because that's a members only setup. Rohit, I'm not sure what you're talking about. I know what you're saying. I mean, I'm not sure which pair you're talking about. Right. All right, the reason I'm waiting to enter is because I'm trading a completely different setup. The one you guys entered on the forum, I'm not sure if you entered that one. That one has triggered already, and it's going well for you guys. But I'm entering a different setup, more of a swing type situation. By swing, I mean swing trade, which is a long-term trade, for those of you who don't know what swing trading is. So yeah, I'm looking at different things for this. Right, so loads of setups, productive webinar, I would say, productive analysis session. Trade I'm most looking forward to is New Zealand USD. I think this has some good potential to drop down to this support area over the next week. I think it will take a little while, but I think this has good potential to drop down. I have a relatively tight stop loss, but I do believe also that if it doesn't fail, if it fails to kind of get below here soon, it's probably going to be turning around and going back up. So that's why I have a pretty tight stop. As always, right now, this is roughly what I'm planning, but I need to look into the numbers properly to decide where I want that stop loss. My stop could end up being a bit wider, giving it a bit more room to breathe. My entry could end up being wider or tighter, but I'll update you guys on the forum with my plans for this trade. So anyway, thank you guys for attending, and I'll see you on Tuesday for the next webinar. But of course, for all you members, I'll see you on the forum way before Tuesday. So thank you guys, and I'll see you later.